untamable and mighty. The oceans are our last true wilderness. They cover 70% of the surface of our planet. Their power can fill us with awe. And at times, fear. And why do they do it? To build friendships and strengthen family bonds. And also for the sheer joy of it. There is so much more to discover about our oceans and their importance to us. Over 40% of us live within 60 miles of the sea, but it is still the least known part of our planet. Today, scientists and filmmakers are heading out to explore the 7 seas. Equipped with the latest technology, their mission is to bring us a new understanding of life beneath the waves. At a time when the health of our oceans is increasingly under threat, this has never been more urgent. They occupy less than 1% of the ocean floor. Yet, they are home to a quarter of all marine species. Competition is fierce in these crowded underwater cities. We are learning just how noisy they are, with state-of-the-art underwater microphones. Amazingly, fish can talk to each other. But sometimes, it's better to stay quiet. On Australia's Great Barrier Reef, One character is challenging our understanding of fish intelligence. This is a tusk fish. He does something few would have believed a fish could do. Every morning, he makes a journey out to the edge of the reef. He is looking for breakfast. A clam. But how to crack it open and get to the meat inside? He carries it all the way back to his special kitchen. A bowl-shaped coral with a particular bump inside that he always uses. It's not easy if you have no hands. Oops. Dropped it again. But he's got great determination. At last. So here's a fish that uses a tool. Some fish are much cleverer than we ever thought. Even ocean creatures that we already knew were smart are continuing to surprise us. This bottlenose dolphin mum is about to teach her calf an important lesson here in the Red Sea. She leads him to a particular bush-like coral called a gorgonian. The family rub themselves through the fronds. The calf is watching and learning. Gorgonian fronds are covered with a mucus that can have anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial properties. So maybe the dolphins are doing this to protect themselves from infection. The calf may be too young to join in, but his family's secret knowledge of the coral reef is teaching us to search for new medicines here too. As we leave the tropics and head into cooler waters, we enter the temperate seas. These are home to mysterious undersea forests. Giant kelp, a seaweed, towers 200 feet high, growing 2 feet a day under the summer sunshine. Marine plants are the lungs of our planet. They pump out as much oxygen as all the forests and grassy plains on land. Within their tangled undergrowth, extraordinary discoveries await. In the shark-filled kelp forests of southern Africa lives one brave little octopus. Pajama sharks are every octopus's worst nightmare. But the octopus has a trick up her sleeve. In a behavior previously unknown to science, she disguises herself with shells, creating a suit of armor. The shark can sense its prey. But the shells protect her. Superior wits allow this octopus to stay alive. But just as we're getting to know these forests, we're recognizing their vulnerability. Off North America's Pacific coast, great stands of kelp are being felled by armies of ravenous sea urchins. They munch through the roots with razor-sharp teeth. But some kelp forests here have unlikely. By removing the urchins, the otters allow the forests to flourish. And with all this food, they're having a baby boom. Now, in a few remote areas, sea otters are creating vast rafts in numbers not seen for more than a century. Covering over half our planet's surface, it's the world's greatest wilderness. A vast, empty void where there's nowhere to hide and little to eat. But all this food attracts other predators. Yellowfin tuna. They rip through the lanternfish in a whirling carousel at 40 miles an hour. Now the sea begins to boil. Finally, mobula rays, with 10-foot wingspans, swoop in. In just 15 minutes, all that's left is a silvery confetti of scales. These fleeting events are becoming rarer as we continue to overfish our high seas. The open ocean may be featureless, but isolated volcanic peaks rise abruptly from deep water, hinting at a secret world below. The deep ocean is as challenging to explore as space. We know more about the surface of Mars than we do about the deep sea. Now, from the research vessel Alusha, we can dive these uncharted depths to discover our final frontier. As we descend, the pressure increases relentlessly. 600 feet down, we enter an alien world, the Twilight Zone. A pyrosome, a tube of jelly, 6 feet long. And stranger still, barrel eye. A fish with a transparent head, so that it can look up through its skull. Eventually, we reach the deep sea floor. A layer of mud, in places a mile thick. Over time, the mud here slowly decays. Creating volcanoes of methane gas. The deep may be hostile, but it's also home to the weird and wonderful. Dancing crabs, called yetis, because of their hairy arms, on which they farm bacteria to eat. A Dumbo octopus, with ear-like fins to hover above the muddy sea floor. There are also corals here, with more species than on shallow tropical reefs. Astonishingly, we're now finding there's more life down here than anywhere else on Earth. This may seem an alien world, but we are more closely connected to the deep than we ever thought possible. Thanks to great ocean currents. These begin at the frozen poles. Here in Antarctica, the surface waters are so cold and heavy that they sink. That creates immense rivers of water that flow into the deep, where they power a global network of currents. These currents flow from the frozen poles to the warm tropics and back again, linking every ocean. They redistribute heat around the planet, maintaining a climate favorable for life on Earth. From producing the oxygen we breathe to controlling our weather, the oceans are our life support system. But just as we're discovering how dependent we are on the oceans, there are worrying signs that they are warming at a faster rate than ever before in human history. And nowhere is this more extreme than in the Arctic. Walrus prefer to rest on sea ice. But with less ice than ever before, hundreds of quarrelsome mothers now have to haul out on dry land. It's far from an ideal nursery. Nor is it safe from polar bears. A full-grown male walrus is too big for a bear to tackle. So it's looking for a walrus baby. This young mother needs to find somewhere for her pup to rest. The only safe places are the last remaining pieces of floating ice. The trouble is that they're slippery. And wobbly. And some walrus pups are just too heavy. The best icebergs are already full. It only takes another 1-ton mum to tip the balance. So we begin to recognize the fragility of their home. As we explore every part of the remote seas and meet astonishing animals, we've begun to appreciate the importance of our oceans. There has never been a more crucial time to continue this journey of discovery. Because our future too depends on a healthy blue planet.